because he always used to act when defending.
I think it's like
People deluded, I'm back again.
Come on, Ian, bro. Come on.
Thank you very much for that, Ian Wright. People deluded, I'm back again. Let's see exactly what's going on in the latest news, views, rumours and talking points connected to our football club as we approach the end of the season. So silly season where every journalist is in the know, everyone relays the same information and changes paragraphs. But for what it's worth, allegedly, Arsenal are interested in signing Ilkay Gundogan, apologies, from Manchester City. As we know, he has an offer from not from Manchester United, he has an offer from Barcelona and apparently a couple of German clubs. Now, let me know your opinions, people. Do you think he's a good signing for our football club or not? But yeah, we've been linked with him. Apparently, Arsenal reportedly alongside Barcelona as a potential transfer suitor for Manchester City midfielder Gundogan as he nears the end of his contract at the Etihad Stadium. As you know, he's been out in outstanding form and in recent weeks has scored some very good finishes and he's obviously captain for them. But it's not yet clear what the future holds for him, with Arsenal possibly set to raid their rivals again. Now, I would love Gundogan. Obviously, he hasn't got too much age in the tank, but with us potentially losing Granit Xhaka and us having Champions League football, on top of just being a fantastic footballer, there's a wealth of experience he can give us. Say what you want about Zinchenko and Jesus, that's given us a lot. I just wonder, having achieved everything you've done at Manchester City, having played in the Premier League for a number of years, played in the Bundesliga, you know, do you have enough energy? And I'm talking from a personal point of view, does he have enough energy to wait for this club to get to where it needs to go? Because if you're the Sakas, the Odegaards, the Salibas, you know, you're in your early 20s, easy 30 odd now, really. So I think he probably wants a new challenge. So let me know your thoughts, people. Gundogan's welcome, especially on a free transfer. He turns 33 later this year. Can't see that with the way he plays, people. So let me know your thoughts on such. I just think it's a bit of a rumor because we obviously know how talented Gundogan is. Obviously, we need midfielders. Obviously, he's a talented midfielder. Arsenal are putting together an offer worth a club record 92 million for Declan Rice, but West Ham want as much as possible of that fee paid up front. Arsenal remain confident they can agree a deal with West Ham and land Rice this summer. You know, so they don't really want to go for the cash converters, Bright House payments, really. They want a lot of it up front, really, especially as Arsenal, you know, have qualified for the Champions League. And if we qualify for it again and things like that, they're going to want their money. If we want Declan Rice, we're going to have to overpay in it. And not just for him, for a number of players. Unfortunately, this is the industry we're in now. So we either scout players before they become household names, the Caicedos, the Declan Rices, the Vlahoviches and Mudryks, before they become, you know, with all these transfer rumours. Or we scout players that can grow into that, or we pay the asking price, or we sit here and cry, people, really and truly. That's what Matt Law has said, people. Tierney is one of a number of players, including Granit Xhaka, who's close to agreeing a move to Bayern Leverkusen. I think that means Tierney is either going to end up at Newcastle or Aston Villa. Rob Holding, Balogun and Tavares, who Arsenal are prepared to sell, while bids are anticipated for Emil Smith-Rowe, Charlie Patino and Albert Sambi Lokonga, who has been linked with Burnley. I mean, if Lokonga's former gaffer in company wants him, take him, really and truly. I don't think the club want to sell Patino, want to sell Smith-Rowe or Tierney. If they want to leave, they're going to have to keep it moving, really, especially where Tierney's concerned, really. I wouldn't sanction getting rid of him. Arsenal are interested in Manchester City's out-of-favour fullback João Cancelo, but fear City will be more reluctant to do business with them this year. It remains to be seen whether Cancelo will have other options to consider. You know, isn't his agent George Mendes, people? Forgive me if I'm wrong. So he will have a number of offers potentially, in my humble opinion. He's linked with Real Madrid. He's linked with Barcelona. While I think his days at Manchester City are over, he's still under contract for a fairly decent amount of time. So you can't rule that out. The only thing I would say against Cancelo is the wages, the bus up with Pep Guardiola. If you're not convincing Bayern Munich and you're not convincing Manchester City, you know, Arsenal were not at them clubs' level at this moment in time. So would he come with his foolishness? On ability, obviously his wages would be sky high. On ability, more than welcome. On what he can give to the team in experience, versatility at left back and right back, it would be a welcome addition, especially if Tierney goes, and especially as we can't really count on Tomiyasu staying fit. So we'll have to see. This article has also said we're keen to make a bid, but City will refuse to sell to us, obviously. after what they've probably seen elsewhere, people, with what we've done with two of their other players, and where Newcastle and Tierney are concerned, maybe that's where we could learn from. Arsenal have identified Cancelo, who was shipped out on a mid-season loan to Bayern Munich after falling out with Pep Guardiola, as a great option to improve their defensive quality. I think he's got a lot of qualities. Would you say he's necessarily the best defender 1v1? There are, however, rumours fears City will be unwilling to let another one of their best players go to the Premier League, to a Premier League rival, after selling Jesus and Zinchenko. Disagree with that. While Jesus and Zinchenko were valued squad members and they all played their part, and I'm sure Manchester City fans would agree and hold them in high regards, wouldn't exactly refer to them as their best players, people. But it makes sense for City not to sell him to us. I think it's just paper talk, really and truly, and creative journalism. Would welcome him if he wants. Bayern Munich have had a 60 million fee turned down, people, really. So where does that leave you, especially as our priorities probably lie in the middle of the park, where we're going to probably spend a lot of money? Once again, Barcelona hold an interest, people. They've been linked with Neymar, Lionel Messi. That can't be cheap. Arsenal are also preparing a near £100 million bid for West Ham captain Declan Rice, whose capture is viewed as a key part of their transfer plans. Declan Rice is expected to leave West Ham and join a Premier League side capable of offering Champions League football. And once again, we're ready to offer 90 million for Rice and have discussed offering him 300 grand a week, people, which is crazy. West Ham once again won 100 million, people. So we have to see. I'm sure a lot of you saw me just click on this article. We could sell up to 11 players, really. I don't think we're going to get everybody shipped off. You can see the names here. Xhaka looks like he's going to Bayern Leverkusen. Tierney's obviously of interest to Aston Villa and Newcastle. Balogun, who's now pledged his allegiance to playing for America at international level, has 20 goals in all comps, 19 in Liga. His stock is high. If we could sell that, reinvest, then we're laughing. Lokonga probably goes on loan / sold again. Tavares is contracted until 2025, costs 8 million quid. If we can move him on, great. I suspect he goes on loan again. Cedric's days are numbered. Reiss Nelson's, we're going to get onto it. He's been offered another deal, but his days are numbered. Ainsley Maitland-Niles, we have not taken out the option of another year. So at this moment in time, Ainsley and Nelson are gone. Eddie and Nketiah, after offering them a new deal, again, I don't know how much the wages would impact moving clubs. Until we bring another striker in, I probably wouldn't sanction Eddie and Nketiah leaving, while you've got Martinelli and Trossard there, and Jesus is clearly the number one. And as I just said, I would love to bring a more physical number 9 into this football club. I think Eddie would have to stay and be at least a squad member. He did do his job in terms of replacing Jesus when there was an injury. You don't really want to rely on these players. Once again, for the 55th time, Xhaka has been offered the chance to join Bayern Munich. Allegedly, personal terms have been agreed, people. So we'll have to see, really and truly. Newcastle admirers of Tierney, as you lot know. Balogun's expected to leave, selling while his stock is high. Lokonga, days are numbered. Ainsley Maitland-Niles is departing on a freeze. Cedric has to be one of the first out the door, and follow Marie if you're honest with yourself, people. Once again, we've decided against triggering his extension. We've wasted £17 million at this moment in time. Hopefully that changes where Lokonga's concerned. Obviously, Tavares has had some good and worse periods at Marseille. Hopefully he's convinced them to take him permanently, people. Cedric has hardly pulled up any trees at Fulham, so I don't think they'll take him on a permanent, really and truly. So we'll have to see how this develops, really. Moving on from that, once again, you know, City don't really want to sell us any players, and there's a reluctance to sell Cancelo, although if they offer 60 million, it is what it is. James Baines, who unfollowed me on Twitter once, you know, thought it was cool. I interviewed you on my channel, prick. But anyways, Arsenal offer Reiss Nelson new contract as they bid to keep hold of super sub wanted by Brighton. For Nelson, he's got a decision to make. On the face of it, you're starting to get little minutes here and there in the team. Arteta does like you. You said you wanted to stay from last year. We're going to be in the Champions League. You're a Haylender. You get it. But if you look at it, how many times have you started for this football club this season and then started consistently? How many minutes have you played? And really and truly, Reiss, you're just really a wild card. You was a wild card against Bournemouth. You was a wild card against Nottingham Forest, really. You're not really in the plans like that. You probably need to go somewhere where at 23 years of age, you're going to play more consistently and feature beyond just being a peripheral figure. And I still think Reiss Nelson has a bag of potential to be a really decent player. I don't know if he'll recognize that here, people, especially if we bring in more attacking options, people. Apparently, Arsenal have made a third offer to Reiss Nelson to extend his contract at the club as they battle to convince the young winger that he has a future in North London. I hope he signs a new deal from a selfish fan point of view, because like with Eddie, boy, can sell these guys for top dollar, really and truly top whack. So would have to see. What I would say to Reiss Nelson, if I was your advisor, which I'm not, and you've got the same advisor as Balogun, Eddie and Nketiah, etc., I'd ask Arteta, honestly, where do you see me now? What do I need to do to get in to play more minutes? Are you bringing in another winger? We've been linked with Moussa Diaby. You've just saw Trossard come in. If you bring in another attacker indirectly, whether you're a 10, a winger, or a striker, only so many can start, only so many can be on the bench. And indirectly, you know, I love what Jesus has brought to this team as a number 9, and I think it needs to continue. But if we bring in a more physical number 9 that gives us another dynamic, obviously that opens up Jesus potentially playing out wide as well. So that could mean less minutes, people. As we know, his contract is winding down. He's got interest from Brighton. I don't even know if you necessarily start there. Arsenal made a new offer to Reiss Nelson earlier this week and are eager to convince the youngster to stay. However, a cameo role might not necessarily appeal to Nelson, who CBS Sports first revealed in March had attracted interest from Brighton as well as clubs outside the Premier League, including Nice, that could obviously offer him a lot of football. Once again, people, Arsenal are looking to strengthen their front line and have Bayern Leverkusen wide man Moussa Diaby high on their list of targets. He turns 24 later this year, people, in December. And again, since making his debut in 2017, and it's been a turbulent period, he still only played 64 times for this football club. When you was on the scene, Saka was probably still in diapers. I'm not judging you on the premise of Saka. I'm just saying, where's the progress here? Talks over Nelson's future coincide with Arsenal's attempts to tie down Aaron Ramsdale and Saliba to new terms. The former is understood to be close to agreeing a deal that will take his salary over 100k a week. The Gunners will soon announce an extension of Bukayo Saka before work turns to extending the stays of Martin Odegaard and Benjamin White. Once again, Xhaka is close to formalising a £13 million move to Bayern Leverkusen. Completely off topic, but on the topic of wingers, Martinelli's been ruled out for the rest of the season after the injury he sustained in the 3-0 whitewashing where the Eagles shat on us at home to Brighton, people. It's all right, Caicedo. You can make it up to us by signing for us. He'll play no part. Apparently, he's expected to be sidelined for a number of weeks, but barring any major setbacks, should return in pre-season ahead of the new season. So you hope him and Saliba can be back in pre-season for next season sooner rather than later. We've heard Tomiyasu will be back in September. And to be honest, I like Tomiyasu, but I don't really want you to be a key part of the squad next season. And what I mean by that is from what you can give the side, of course. But your heart, you can't really bet on your fitness. And we've seen the knock-on effect. So, yeah. Martinelli joins Saliba, joins El Nene, Tomiyasu, and any other player I'm missing out in this season's done, really. Arteta did say in the aftermath of Sunday's game, he's in a boot, which you all saw Martinelli in a boot. It's very uncomfortable to walk. He could not play on. We need to scan him. He tried to play on. It was a myth there, people. So we've spoken on Reiss Nelson, Cancelo, Declan Rice, Granit Xhaka, Moussa Diaby, etc., etc. Moving on with that, where are we now, people? Allegedly, again, the Times article is behind the paywall, so it makes it difficult to pre it for you lot. But Arsenal's hunt for a fullback has taken more urgency amid fears Tomiyasu could struggle to play much before Christmas after undergoing surgery on a knee injury. I like Tomiyasu, but if this continues for a third season, we've probably got to nip that in the bud. And the club's desire to sell Kieran Tierney. Well, we've got a desire to sell Kieran Tierney? Bit harsh. Arsenal showed serious interest in Real Valladolid's Ivan Fresneda in January, which could be revisited if a move for Cancelo proves to be impossible. You'd imagine he, bringing Fresneda, who said he's a big fan of Arsenal and Arteta, what they're doing this year, is significantly cheaper than bringing in Cancelo, where if you factor in the wages that Declan Rice, Cancelo, Gundogan, all of these guys are probably, Moussa Diaby are probably going to be on, new deals for Odegaard, Ramsdale, Gabriel, Benjamin White, Saliba, Martinelli, Saka. This is all going to take a hit on our resources, really. So this is why it's important to get a lot of players off the wage bill, essentially, people. Arsenal could revisit once again a move for Fresneda if a move for Cancelo does not materialize. Again, the dream is free. The hustle is sold separately. Do not forget to subscribe, smash the like button, and let me know your thoughts. Fabrizio Romano is continuously updating on Xhaka. He said Bayern Leverkusen hope to get a Xhaka deal done in June after personal terms agreed on a contract valid until 2027. Talks will move to the final stages soon. Arsenal will insist on a Declan Rice deal, main priority. They're still waiting on West Ham to decide the final price tag. They're just going to sell to the highest bidder. Once again, Patrick Berger, he's the first person I saw speaking about Xhaka to Leverkusen, has said he's set to leave. The 30-year-old wants to leave the UK. He's keen to go back to the Bundesliga. Obviously, Bayern Leverkusen have turned their season around of sorts under Xabi Alonso, who apparently is a big fan. Again, he's agreed a 4-year deal, but now the clubs must come to an arrangement, really. Arsenal are apparently going to be active in the transfer market this summer and are chasing a right back, a centre back, a central midfielder, a winger, and a striker. So if we're not chasing a left back, surely that means Tierney is staying, Like if Tierney wants to leave, great. But we've seen with Zinchenko, he's a great player, but there's sometimes his dynamics might not be needed in the game. And if he's injured, boy, I don't want to go back to Saka playing left back. Tomiyasu can do a job there if he's fit. We're not going to learn our lessons. We need to learn our lessons, really, because we probably had a smoother ride with injuries, but we've still had a whole heap of injuries to contend with this season. Tomiyasu, El Nene, Gabriel Jesus, Eddie Nketiah, Trossard's even had a knock, Zinchenko's had a knock, Tierney's had a knock. There's been several, really. Once again, apparently Aaron Ramsdale was expected to double his wages from 60 grand a week with his new contract, which rightly so. He's a better player than when he signed, and his squad stature has improved. Saka is set to earn around 15 million a year, which comes in at around 290k a week. Martinelli is also now over the 6-figure mark. Now, again, we don't know the base salaries and the variables that go into the contract, but this comes with the territory. Key players and players that are doing their job deserve new deals. So tying down deals is what we need to do. And obviously, incoming players that are of a certain caliber are going to cost a lot of money, people. Once again, Xhaka had a long talk with Xabi Alonso yesterday. He listened to the project, and discussions between the two parties, Arsenal and Leverkusen, are well advanced. We've also allegedly been offered the chance to sign PSV wonderkid Xavi Simons. There is a buyback clause for PSG in his contract. We have seen him twice this season, played quite well. Even though they didn't score when we watched them, when we played them at the Emirates in the group stage of the Europa League. He played very well when they dealt with us away from home in Holland. Quality player, really. But he's changed we've heard about this before, he's changed his agent, and apparently his agent or the agency has close links to Arsenal. So maybe that's a bit of creative journalism. I do think we're scouting him. Doesn't mean we're going to sign for him. I think us, City, a lot of teams are probably looking at him. He's a young wonder kid that can play a midfield or as a wide forward. You're obviously just going to keep tabs on him according to what you may or may not need. But past that, I'm not too sure. If he does want to sign and it's of a certain fee, I'm all for it, though. As I said, let me know your thoughts, people, on everything we've discussed. Smash the like button, comment when this video premieres, and also in the comment section after. Stay safe, stay blessed, and I'll see you lot again soon.
So he always used that active red light, defending.
I think it's like